Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Athearn has sent me something to share with you guys. This is a couple GP40-2s from their latest release in the Athearn line, which was previously called Ready to Roll. They have since dropped the Ready to Roll name and just call it Athearn now. And so nothing else has changed but the name. So how about we roll the video intro and then we'll get started. If you would like to see more content from my channel, be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified of future videos. Alright, let's get started on this. If you do hear some background noise, it is raining out. And sometimes my camera mic can pick up cars actually going by the house. So I apologize for any background noise that you may hear. But this is a glimpse of the new packaging in the Athearn line, which, like I said, was previously called Ready to Roll. Nothing has changed but the name and the packaging. And if you're unfamiliar with Athearn, they have the Genesis line, which is their top tier. With all the detail parts, prototypically accurate detailing, dimensions. They have a lot more lighting features, a lot more details, like I said. And then they have the Roundhouse line, which is at the other end of the spectrum. Really not many added detail parts as far as separately applied parts. But it is more budget friendly. Then you have the Athearn Ready to Roll line, which is now called the Athearn line. And that is basically anything in between the two. So you'll have varying levels of detail, maybe varying levels of lighting features, not quite as much as what would be on a Genesis model, but would be a step up from the Roundhouse line. But this is the packaging. Now these models here come straight DC. However, they are DCC ready and DCC Sound ready equipped. What I mean by that is there is a provision on their board for a 21-pin decoder. You can install a sound decoder also, because this does come with a dual sugar cube speaker right from the factory. So you don't have to mess with any speakers. Find a sound decoder that you like, stick it in, do some function mapping and programming, and then you're good to go. Or you can just install a mobile only DCC decoder, 21 pin of course, if you don't want sound, and you can operate that way also, or straight DC right out of the box. Now the packaging is much the same as the latest Ready to Rolls that you may have seen. Lift off the lid, clamshell packaging, slide your sleeve off, open up the clamshell, and pull out your locomotive. Simple as that. You do get a little bit of literature, exploded parts diagram, and a parts list, but pretty basic there. If you install DCC, you will have to follow that manufacturer's instructions and functions for that decoder. We can cover some of that a little bit later in the video, but let's get this stuff out of the way and we'll look at what you came for. As we get ready to look at these, I will throw up a picture of some of the features on these locomotives. Like I said, they're not as detailed as a Genesis line, but they are a step up from Roundhouse. This release comes with road numbers in CP, Rail, CSX, BNSF, Amtrak, and Norfolk Southern that you see here. I would also like to give a shout out to Midwest Model Railroad. They are my go-to hobby shop and a channel sponsor. And right now they have these locomotives on their website for $133 US. So if you're interested in picking up these models, check out MidwestModelRR.com or visit their store in Independence, Missouri. Now, Athearn has released the GP40-2 in their other lines as well, in the Genesis line. Like I said, a lot more detailed, more prototypically accurate, and a lot more lighting features, and you can get those either straight DC or with Tsunami 2 sound. And then you have the roundhouse line, which really has no separately applied parts except, I think, grab irons. But they are 21 pin DCC capable, so you can add a decoder if you want. And their lighting functions are just headlight and rear light. You have no additional lighting features at all. And then now they have released this in their Athearn line, which falls in between the two. Now this won't be as highly detailed as some of the other ready-to-roll locomotives that you're used to, such as the SD40-2s or the SW1500s. They are a little bit more highly detailed than this one here. However, they do fall in the Athearn line. So within the Athearn line, you do have a, kind of a level of degree of detail there. Some are detailed more than others, and some have a little bit more maybe features than another one. They may not be 100% prototypically accurate as far as maybe certain details or dimensions. They save basically their Genesis line for everything that's accurate to the prototype. As we look at some of the details of this locomotive, like I said, there's not many on this. It would probably fall under the lower end of the scale in their Athearn line, maybe a little bit closer to the roundhouse. If you're familiar with the blue box, the old Athearn blue boxes, this really is pretty close to that. I believe they pretty much used the same body or same frame, same die-cast frame, and pretty much the same drivetrain. They might have stepped up a little bit as far as the details and everything. Well, I know they did. There's more details on this than what you would have got from a blue box. But if you're familiar with the blue boxes, the drivetrain and the die-cast frame and stuff is pretty much the same. Like the fuel tank is all die-cast. It's not a separately applied plastic fuel tank. You'll see a lot of similarities to the blue box as we go over this, and I will show you the inside of it as well. Now this model, the separately applied parts are the grab irons, of course. You do have a Sinclair antenna and horn that's separately applied. This does have a plow, and it does have LED lighting and includes LED lit ditch lights. As you can see, there are no MU hoses or coupler cut lever. It does have the standard McKendree knuckle coupler, which you can swap out for KD. In fact, I'm going to show you a little bit of something with the other one they sent me. I did a little bit of work on it so you can see maybe what you could do with these things. They really are a blank canvas. They do have some of the detail parts applied, but then if you want to add more, you can do it however you wish. You can add as much detail as you wish. But like I said, there really is not a lot of extra detail on this. There's no underbody piping. Again, no coupler cut lever or MU hoses. The number boards are not lit, of course. That is reserved for the Genesis line. I would also like to add there are no see-through grills on this model. There's no cab interior. And if you're used to your Athearn models having the windows that move, these do not. I am very happy with the lettering and the logos on this locomotive. Nice, sharp, crisp. There's no kind of like blurred edges or anything. Everything looks really nice there. The yellow paint on the rails and the front of the steps is really done well too. Nothing's chipping or coming off there. And here's a quick look at the rear again. You do have separately applied grab irons. LED lighting again in the back, along with LED lit ditch lights. And you do get a plow in the back also. So that's the extent of the detail on the rear of this. Taking a quick look across the top, you do have the separately applied grab iron up top. The fan detail, these are not see-through fans. They are all molded on. There you see your Sinclair antenna and your 3-chime horn. So while we're on the subject of details, I wanted to show you, while this may not be a very highly detailed model out of the box, it does give you the ability to detail it as you see fit. Here's number 3035 that Athearn also sent me, and I took the liberties of adding MU hoses and coupler cut lever. So there you go. You can go as crazy as you want. If you want to add sunshade, you can. PTC antenna, you can. If you want to add some more underbody detail, you can. That is entirely up to you. But for the modeler that likes to do a little bit of detailing on their own, this would be perfect for you. And like I said, I thought I would give you an example of what you could do. Here's a little closer look. These are Details West MU hoses, and I used cow scale, coupler cut lever, painted of course, added the yellow safety paint at the top like the prototype, and I even added KD couplers to this one. So that's another option for you. I will note with the KD couplers, you may want to use a long shank on the front. This is a standard length and it seems pretty close to the Locomotive, but that's something you can do if you want. If you change your couplers out to KDs, keep that in mind. I did the same thing in the rear. I took basically what was almost a blank canvas, and I did add MU hoses and the coupler cut lever, and of course the KD coupler. Now, since these came straight DC, I did have to dig out my MRC DC controller and kind of have it just tapped into my layout, since my layout is strictly DCC. I'm going to try to freehand this as we do some DC operations. Like I said, all LED lighting, headlight and ditch lights in DC. I'm happy with how it runs in DC. See if we can get some of the lighting to show up here. Kind of hard to do here since I can't leave the controller. See if I can't get some of the lighting in the camera for you. But I'll tell you, it runs really nice in DC. See here, I get it to move pretty slow. This thing runs really nice. I could just imagine how nice it'll run after it's broke in. I would like to point out though, I was hoping these ran pretty much the same speed together out of the box, but they do not, and I'm a little bit baffled by that. I kind of thought they would run about the same. So if you're thinking about running them together, yours may or may not. I don't know. These two do not run well together. Maybe after some break-in they will kind of even each other out, but if you notice, definitely one starts way before the other. They don't remotely run the same at all. As we go to look at the inside of this locomotive, I'd like to say these weigh in at about 13.5 ounces. With the all-wheel drive and all-wheel pickup, it should pull pretty well. I don't know the figure off the top of my head, but I know the latest runs of the SD40-2s from the Ready to Roll line felt rather light to me. This feels heavier than that, so it should pull pretty well. And it's very simple to remove the shell on these. Just remove the two coupler pocket screws, slide out the coupler pockets, and the shell will just lift off. Simple as that. There's no extra screws by the fuel tank and under the trucks or anything like that. Just remove the coupler pockets and you're good to go. And while we're inside the locomotive, I just happen to have a Soundtrax Economy decoder, 21 pin, that we'll throw in this so we can check out the DCC action of this locomotive and take advantage of that speaker that's already in there. Here is a look at the inside of this locomotive, and you'll definitely see some similarities to the Blue Box era if you're familiar with those. Definitely have the speaker there that you can see. Does have the Athearn board with the 21 pin socket. That is the jumper board that you see there. To install DCC, you will remove that and then install your decoder in the same spot. There's a glimpse of the motor, and the motor is actually hardwired from the bottom, so it's not getting anything from the frame of the locomotive, which makes it DCC friendly. Alright, I have the DC jumper board removed and the 21 pin Economy decoder in its place. As you see here, if you do want to take advantage of all the lighting functions on this locomotive, you will need at least a 6-function decoder. One function for the headlights, one function for the rear lights, and a function for each individual ditch light, which will allow you to make them alternate and flash like the real Norfolk Southern locomotives. One nice thing that Athearn has done is they do have each individual ditch light bulb on its own function. I guess I shouldn't say bulb, I should say LED. These are LEDs. But they do have each LED, each ditch light on its own function. That will give you the ability to program your decoder to make your ditch lights alternate. One thing I would like to point out, if you get just a 6-function decoder, the function outputs for your lighting will be functions 1 through 6 when you're doing your programming and function mapping. However, the Athearn board can go up to, I believe, function 8 as far as the amount of functions. So, if you have, say, an 8-function decoder, then the rear ditch lights, the way mine is, the rear ditch lights would be functions 7 and 8. So whenever you did your programming, you would use functions 7 and 8 if you have like an 8-function decoder or more. Since this is just a 6-function decoder, in order for the rear ditch lights to work, I had to move the wires for the rear ditch lights, just the black wires, from function 7 and 8. Here you see it where they're connected at the top of the edge of the board there at the top side. You'll see function 7 and function 8. It's actually on the side of the decoder. But move one of those to function 5 and another one to function 6 on the board, which is on the other end of the board. Here I show a picture of that. So the first picture you can see, if you look, for function 7 and function 8, those black wires have to be moved to function 5 and function 6. Or your decoder, there's no way for you to program your decoder to run lights off of function 7 and function 8. I'm not sure why Athearn did it that way. It was a little bit confusing at first. I didn't pay attention. I didn't look for that right away. I just started programming the decoder and wondered why I couldn't get my rear ditch lights to work. And then it hit me. You dummy, check the board. And sure enough, the wires for the rear ditch lights were wired to function 7 and 8, and my decoder would only go up to function 6. So I had to move that, like I said, move those wires to function 5 and 6. You may have to do that when you're doing this. I also recommend using JMRI Decoder Pro to do all your programming and function mapping on whatever decoder you get. Actually, if you get an ESU decoder, I would recommend the Loc Programmer. It's a lot easier than trying to do everything through CV changes off your controller. It will definitely make your life a lot easier. And unfortunately, that's something you're going to have to follow the manufacturer's directions and how they map their functions and which functions they use for this or that. And you will have to alternate all that. It's not just simply plug and play with a decoder. You can't just buy a 21-pin decoder, stick in a locomotive, and expect all your lighting functions to work the way they should. None of that. I mean, you do have to do some programming and function mapping. So just keep that in mind. I don't want someone that's never done it before to just buy a decoder and stick it in there and wonder why things aren't working. It's not that simple. It's not a simple plug and play. All right, here we are back at the layout. The Econami decoder is installed. I have it function mapped the way I want. I have it programmed the way I want. The lighting looks great. It runs great. In fact, I did not change any motor settings whatsoever in the decoder. I just function mapped the outputs for the lighting and changed some volume levels. Obviously, I had to select the correct prime mover and horn and adjust the flash rate and things like that for ditch lights and actually program the ditch lights to be ditch lights. But everything's great. Everything looks great and it runs great. Sounds great. No complaints at all with any of that. So I'm going to quit talking and just operate this a little bit. And then after we're done operating, that'll be the end of the video. And hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I lied when I said I wasn't going to talk anymore. This thing runs awesome. And the lighting is awesome too. Man, this thing's perfect. And again, I apologize if you hear loud cars going by my house. Unfortunately, nothing I can do about it, and my camera mic does pick them up.